special day. I woke up before 9 a.m. No, I'm kidding. I did wake up before 9 a.m. But I'm going to get a tattoo. Today I have a tattoo appointment. I'm going to be getting a half sleeve. It's going to be a Filipino tribal tattoo, and it's going to be in honor of my dad. So it's a really emotionally charged and very symbolic day for me. It's been just a little over a year since my dad passed, and I felt like I was emotionally ready to get this tattoo done. I'm going to an artist in Burlingame, and he specializes in Filipino tribal tattoos, and I'll link his art somewhere in the video, but his name is Jerome Noveras, and he's amazing, and he really does his art with meaning and intent and purpose, and something that I really resonate with. And I woke up just because I really wanted to get ready for the day and like really mentally prepare myself for this, because it's gonna be a long day. But I decided I wanted to bring you guys with me. What up? I'm just getting ready, and I was thinking about it. This is kind of a lot for just like going to a tattoo, but you know what? Like, I haven't gone out of the house other for like grocery shopping for like the past few weeks, and I don't know, I guess I just need a reason to like really get ready and like look cute. And like, it's not for like anyone else, it's really just for myself. I want to feel good about myself, and I do feel good. I don't have enough chances to like get ready, you know? So I'm really taking advantage of this. I'm also just really proud of getting up before 9 a.m. because before I was waking up literally at maybe noon or like 1 p.m. I got tired of doing that, and I was like, I really need to like change up my sleep schedule and my sleep habits. I was just tired of wasting my day all the time. But today is a big day. I've been manifesting this tattoo for so long. Even before my dad passed away, I already knew that I wanted like a half sleeve. I wanted something on my arm, like this much. And then when my dad finally passed away, I thought about it and I was like, you know what? This might be a great opportunity for me to, you know, finally get it and have something to remember my dad by. If you know me, or if you don't, growing up as a Filipino-American, I wasn't very immersed in my culture or my heritage just because I grew up in a town that was predominantly white, and I just remember both my mom and dad, you know, they would teach me little phrases in Tagalog, but they figured like since I was living in a town full of white kids that it would be better if I just like knew English. So they kind of just like gave up, and ever since then, you know, I kind of just like assimilated into, you know, American culture. I remember I was actually thinking about this last night, and the first time I realized like I was like othered, or Filipino wasn't, you know, well represented. I was like in, I want to say either the first or the third grade, and I was in a computer lab with a bunch of my other classmates, and I just remember my classmate next to me, you know, we were close and like we were talking, and he asked me like, oh, like what are you? And I said, oh, I'm Filipino. He didn't even say anything. His first reaction was to laugh. He just laughed, and I was so confused and like really bothered by that. I was like, why are you laughing? And he was just like, I'm sorry, like it sounds funny. And you know, looking back in retrospect, I'm sure like he just like didn't know any better, but that also just goes to show you that like how alienated I felt and how alienated like Filipinos in general are historically, because it feels like Filipinos, you know, we kind of like don't really fit in anywhere, or we have historically been like fucked over like for centuries, and you know, we've always just been like displaced, and you know, there's a lot of also it's very politically charged. But I realized at that moment in time, I realized like being Filipino is kind of funny, or it's something to laugh at. And I think looking back on it, it was a traumatizing moment for me in my childhood, and it made me feel like I had to fit in. If I wanted to fit in, I had to act like a white kid. And that kind of was like the story of my life for the next like 12 years up until college. And it wasn't until college that I really delved a little bit deeper into my Filipino culture. And like, I just remember going to college in San Jose State, where it's a vast majority of Asian American students, especially Filipinos. It was a big culture shock for me. And I always felt like in high school or just like growing up that I was the token Asian kid, and that's what made me stand out, and that's like made me who I was. And then when I started in college, it made me feel like I was just a number and like I wasn't anyone special. So for a while it was a culture shock, and then I met a friend who introduced me to Akbayan, which was the Filipino student organization at State, and it just like it clicked, you know? It took a while for me to kind of really put myself out there, but when I put in the effort and I put in the time, it all came back to me, and I made some really great friends. I learned a lot more about my culture, and I just felt like it felt like family, or it felt like home. Someone said that I think I really found my Filipino identity by being with my extended family. And that really resonated with me, because it was always when I was going to like Filipino parties or like family get-togethers where, you know, the food, the atmosphere, the family really tied it all together and really made me feel like I was at home and I was a part of the family and I was a part of the culture. And that's kind of how it felt when I was in college. Like I really immersed myself and I really let go of those sort of notions that I had to be whitewashed, and I found some friends that felt like family. And I think that's what being Filipino is about, is like making everyone feel like your family, or making everyone else feel like a family. And I think that family has always been something that's been really important in my life, and I think I've learned to appreciate my culture for that. And you know, I'm getting a tattoo, a Filipino tribal tattoo, in honor of my dad, who is my family. And so, wow, I don't even know where I was going with that, but to me it feels like I am taking ownership and I am immersing myself in the culture and, you know, learning more about it. And that's what I want to do, and that's kind of why I wanted to get this tattoo. I wanted to essentially have a part of myself, like rediscover a part of myself that, you know, I've kind of left in the back corner of my mind for a while. Wow, that was a lot. But my skin is ready and I'm ready to get this tattoo. So I'll see you.
Then use the right lane to take exit 417B toward Peninsula Avenue.
Bitch! I am back. I needed a few days to let this heal. I mean, it's still healing, but oh my god, look! This is more than I could have ever have dreamed of. It's still healing. It's still gonna take about maybe a solid month to like fully heal, but so far so good. Wow, like I'm still in shock that I have this on my arm. This was 5 hours. All in one session. I did the tattoo all in one session, and it was all in 5 hours. My artist said, you can do this in multiple sessions if you feel like you can't take it all in one day. And in my head, I was like, mama didn't raise no bitch. So I just went for it. Little did I know how much pain it was going to require. The cool thing about it is that the artist that I went to, super chill dude, super talented. He just like knows what he's doing, and like he made me feel really comfortable. I didn't want to film my appointment just because this was just a very important process for me, and I also just wanted to like be present. But I got to the tattoo parlor. The appointment was supposed to be a consultation and then a tattoo. I didn't have a specific design or idea of what I wanted. I just knew that I wanted a half sleeve, and I just wanted something that I can remember my dad by. This tattoo was gonna be for my dad and in remembrance of his life. We sat down, Jerome, he talked about like context of his work and like his background and his story and like why he does his art and where his inspiration comes from. And he also kind of taught me a little bit of Filipino mythology and traditional Filipino meanings and symbols and like gods and goddesses and spirituality, and it was really enlightening, and I think that was kind of like my favorite part. It was very illuminating to hear of my culture that I personally haven't been able to really immerse myself in, and a lot of our history is lost, and it's usually passed down by like grandparents and, you know, other generations. And I feel like at least my parents have not necessarily neglected that sort of history, but I think with the assimilation into America, you know, they have other things to worry about, and you know, sometimes generations of history and folklore and legends sort of die down with each generation. And it was nice to just kind of get a taste of where my roots have come from, and you know, the education of it all was amazing. I really enjoyed that, and I shared my story, and I shared my dad's story, and I shared my family history. And immediately he like manifested the idea of what he was gonna do. So I had no idea what he was going to do. I just like put my complete trust into my artist, and he did it all freehand. He didn't like draw it down on a piece of paper or a piece of parchment and then like put it on my arm. He did it all freehand. He had like some permanent markers and just like did little geometric symbols and lines on my arm. He did like one draft, and then he did a finer draft, and then like I could kind of see where he was going, but I didn't see the full picture up until he started actually tattooing me. And yeah, we had some really dope conversation, and he was very open. This was a very emotional process for me because, you know, this was about my dad, and this was about my family, and he was very sensitive to that, and he really, with how he wrapped it all together, was beautiful. That being said, it was 5 hours of pure agony. So I was laying down on that bed for 5 hours. He was really cool though. He had an iPad, and we were talking about how much we both like anime, and he's like, do you want to watch anime on my iPad while, you know, I get this done on your arm? And I was like, yeah, sure, that'd be great. And so I was watching Demon Slayer on his iPad, and it definitely made the experience a lot less frightening. He even offered to like buy me pizza because like I barely ate that day. Such a very genuine and authentic kind of guy, and I just felt comfortable just being in pain for 5 hours. He did a really good job, and you know, he even sort of debriefed me of like what all these symbols mean. I mean, let me break it down for you. Right here you can see like some birds and a sun. So essentially, these birds represent my family. And the biggest one represents me, and everyone else is like my family members behind me, including my dad. And it's each of the birds, they are different, and they represent like how everybody in your family is a different person. Each of the birds are facing the right side, and that represents God, Jesus, sorry. That represents like a good omen in the Philippines. If you see birds flying from left to right, that means that you are on the right path. And then the birds flying into the sun, that symbolizes me working towards my dreams and my aspirations and my goals. There's river hooks on this side. This represents the rivers that my dad came from, or the town that my dad came from. He came from Lawak in Pangasinan, and this represents the land as well. So this is where the land that my dad came from. And then the other side we have a similar pattern, and this represents the land where I'm headed. And then finally we have eyes. So I have eyes literally on the back of my arm. And then there are also stars in between them. So what this means is I have eyes that are protecting me, like evil eyes. They are watching over me and they're protecting me. And the stars, they are there to guide me. You know, that sort of story really is just so beautiful. And I honestly wanted to cry when he explained it and when it was all over, but like I had to keep it together. And I also was just like emotionally exhausted because 5 hours of like being stabbed in the skin, your adrenaline is pumping so hard that you're worn out. So I think I was like too emotionally exhausted to cry. But it came out so beautifully, and it was so worth it. And my artist even said like it was a blast creating this. He was telling me how sometimes you're kind of just like in the zone and like you have a really good idea of what you want to do and what you want to create, and he said that this was one of those moments, and I felt so honored. And he told me how he had a good idea of what to do because I really laid out the foundation for him. I was very open, and I was very willing to share my story and my dad's story and get really specific. And you know, that kind of just like is a metaphor for life. Like the more energy and the more effort you put into something, the more it's gonna come back to you. And I don't know, after this, not only am I feel like I'm having a healing moment over my dad, but I just feel like I have a different outlook on life. And sometimes it takes something like a tattoo or a drastic change in your life to really feel that way. But I'm a brand new person, mentally and physically and spiritually, and I couldn't have asked for a better artist and a better tattoo and a better experience. That is my tattoo, my half sleeve, my contemporary Filipino tribal tattoo. It's nice because I don't feel like anybody else is gonna have something like this. The one thing about like traditional Filipino tattoos is that everyone has like the Filipino flag or the 3 stars and the sun, and it's cute, but it just seems like it's a little overdone. I have nothing against it, but I feel like it's just a little overdone, and I feel like this is something that is so unique and is so unique to me, and that's what makes it special. And I feel like that's how tattoos should be. I'm just different. Thanks again for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me if you want a tattoo, if you have any tattoos, and if you do, what are they and what do they mean to you? Be sure to comment down below, and I can't wait to see you guys again in the next video. Bye!